Friday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our Facebook Live show here at Hot Shot Secret. Kyle Fisher, Director of Marketing. Today, our special guest is Kevin Adams, Vice President of Research and Development. Happy to have Kevin on today. Right off the top, we want to recognize the tragedy that's going down in Alaska right now. We just heard about. So thoughts and prayers to all of our friends out there. 907 Diesel. Genoir Towing, a big one of our dealers out there. We were fortunate to have a team from Hot Shots make the trip all the way to Alaska this year for a big diesel event up there, and couldn't have been nicer people and everything, and they're dealing with a lot right now. So we're thinking about you guys. We hope you pull it through and everybody's good out there. Just wanted to get that off the top. But today is going to be a racing special edition because we have PRI coming up next week and at Indy. So we thought we'd kind of run through our racing line of products.
Sounds good.
And we have the guy here who is the man behind the formulations of everything. So we've got a good base of knowledge to work off of here.
Yep.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
He's ready. So let's see, a little housekeeping. The man behind the formulations
right
of
now
everything.
on the web,
so
we got free products
we've got
going out to anybody who orders over $100
to work off.
You're going to get your choice of
You ready for this?
4-ounce bottle
He's
of
ready.
Diesel Winter Anti-Gel,
So,
or you can
let's
get a
see,
4-ounce bottle of everyday diesel
man
treatment,
behind
or
the formulations
right
of
now on the web, we
everything.
got free products going out to anybody who orders over $100 presents. You're going to get
this
your
way
choice of
you ready for
stock
this?
up your 4-ounce bottle of Diesel Winter Anti-Gel, or you can get a 4-ounce bottle of everyday diesel treatment, or on the web, we got free products going out to anybody who orders over $100 presents. Giveaways, blogs,
you ready for
stock
this?
up your 4-ounce Diesel Winter Anti-Gel, or you can get a 4-ounce bottle of everyday diesel treatment, or look out for free Facebook page or subscribe to our giveaways, blogs,
You ready for
stock
this?
up your 4-ounce Diesel Winter Anti-Gel, or you can get a 4-ounce everyday diesel treatment, or look out for free Facebook page or subscribe to our giveaways, so we encourage you guys
if you have a specific question about racing or motorsports or truck pulling or something like that, we're happy to answer that as well. It's kind of going to be our theme today, but we're open to all questions. So let's, off the top, what are we going to be talking about today? First of all, we have our Adrenaline line of oils here. So we've got our Adrenaline Racing Oil, which has been out for about a year now.
Yeah.
It's about, I think it was a year this time last year.
Yeah,
we
right before PRI.
we put it out, and so we've had tons of success on that. And throughout this year, we've added 2 new products that we've done some very thorough testing on as the year's gone on, and we're about to just now release them to the public, so everybody can get in on that. And that would be our transmission fluids and our gear oils. So we're going to take a little bit of a deep diver into those today to let you know what's behind these products. So let's start off with the racing oil, since that's what a lot of people already are out there running already. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what's behind the formula? What's it take to develop a racing oil? Why did we develop a racing oil? How did we even get into this oil business to start with?
Good question. Okay, basically how this all came about, when we introduced the FR3, of course, to understand how it compared to other products in the market, we were taking it and testing it in all kinds of different engine oils. Mobil 1 synthetic, Brad Penn, racing oils at the highest level, regular passenger car oils. So what we were finding was that the FR3 was extending the performance of even the best oils out there. So we did some research, found out that it wasn't easy to develop a racing oil. There's articles on, online, people in the industry that are leaders saying, you can't bench top formulate a racing oil. So we really had to do our homework and find out, what pushes the envelope. So, we knew we maybe had something with the FR3 because it helps other formulations extend. So we tried a number of different formulations, and basically what we did, we took a formulation that was an industry but not very it wasn't commercially available.
Right.
It was used privately with top racers.
Yeah, some of the top circuits, Indy 500. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys know about it, but it's not really a readily available
Yeah,
formula.
it's not a brand you'd see on the side. It's
Right.
kind of a, how should I say it, a special formulator had this recipe. So what we did, we took that formulation, compared it to other oils that were out there, found out that it actually was near the top or at the top of the industry. Tested the FR3 in the formulation. We were able to extend the performance of that oil 20% on the 4-ball test, which
Right.
is one of our pre-qualifying tests to see how well a lubricant performs.
You want to explain that test?
Yeah, what that is, there's 2 different tests used in lubrication to see how well your engine parts are being protected. So, one, the 4-ball test, you basically take some bearings in a special test apparatus, and if you picture 3 ball bearings, half-inch in size, sit together in a triangle, and then you have a 4th bearing rotating in the center of those. And basically it's rotating in a bath of oil for a certain period of time with a certain weight, and it's supposed to simulate two metal surfaces that are rubbing together. Basically it's an extreme pressure test because it's actually putting a wear scar in. You can run your engine for hundreds of thousands of miles and do very little wear to it, but
Which actually Chris broke down last week. We still have his whiteboard right here we can slide in.
Yeah, that's an example of some of the tests that we do. But the 4-ball test, so after the end of that test, they'll take the balls out, look at them under a microscope, and measure the depth of the wear scar. So that's where we took the base oils, put the FR3 in to see how well we compared against the base oils. Our next step after that is to run it in some of our own cars, see how it does, and then do performance testing on dynos. So fast forward a little bit, what we found with the racing oil when we were in the early development stages, we were doing some dyno testing down in Plain City at Firepunk, and they were using their engine builder uses the Valvoline VR1, so that was in our sights to do a comparison test. Let me pull that sheet out so I don't quote the wrong
Which is one of, VR1 is an industry standard of one of the top race oils out there.
Yeah, commercially it's definitely the most popular out there.
Sure.
So we wanted to see how we indexed with that. And when we did the dyno runs, the Valvoline VR1 was 765 and we were 788 with our 20W50. So, that told us that we, had a high performing oil, and when you can release more power, you're also protecting your engine.
Sure.
You have greater protection for all the bearings in there. So,
and especially in a racing application like this, when you're at a 700 horsepower level, somebody who's got up to 764 horsepower, to gain 24 horsepower to get up to 788 with an oil, it still blows a lot of people's mind, because at that level of horsepower, you've really peaked out everything you can do mechanically with the vehicle.
Yeah.
And to squeeze out every extra little horsepower. So a 24 horsepower, gain over the industry standard oil is really impressive.
Yeah, and of course Valvoline, they have a high level of zinc, but there's some other things that we do besides the FR3. We have antimony in there, and we have a renewable lubricant that has very high film strength. So all those combined work together to, like I said, release power.
Mm-hmm. And maybe touch on the zinc a little bit for those that don't really know. Why do we add zinc to a racing oil that you wouldn't normally have in a regular oil package?
Yeah, zinc's been a popular additive for many years, since the beginning, really. Anywhere where you have extreme pressure and extreme force, like flat tappets or racing applications, the zinc is a chemical that goes to where the heat is at and releases a protective layer between the two sliding surfaces. It's a sacrificial layer, but that's what prevents damage from happening. So it's very common for racing oils to have 1,500 to 2,000 ppm of zinc. It's not as popular nowadays because the zinc in regular passenger car oils, because the zinc also creates ash, which can plug up catalytic converters.
Eat up your, yeah.
Yeah.
And same thing with a DPF on a diesel.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you really don't want to get that zinc into your emission system. So,
Yeah.
and that's why in a race application, there's no emission systems on
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
it's safe to use, and actually it is the safety for the motor too.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so one thing to note about zinc, more is not necessarily better.
Right.
You can reach an optimum amount of zinc. Once you get past that optimum amount, you actually can be doing more damage to your engine. So we know some racers that take a shot of zinc and throw it into their oil. You really do need to be careful of that. If you're going to do that, follow some industry guidelines on what the appropriate amount of zinc is, or make sure that you always follow the directions. To be completely safe, though, really the adrenaline is. I know we're a little bit partial, but it really is the best oil out there.
And we got the balance right.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the weights we offer. I mean, originally, when we first started, I think we just had 3 weights.
Yeah, 50,
So we got
40, 50, and 60.
Right, a 15W40, a 20W50, and then our alcohol 60 weight. Since then, we've developed an R3, a 10W30, and then I remember we had a question earlier I saw come in on our Facebook page about our 5W20, and that actually came about because we had one of our local race guys asked if we've ever made anything for junior dragsters. We found out that they use generally 5W20, and I think within a week of me telling you that, you had a bottle of 5W20 for him to try. He went out there and used it his first time, and his kid set like a new record on it. So
Yeah.
we said, heck, we can make a 5W20 too. So we've got the way we call our adrenaline racing line. It's R2, R3, R4, R5, and R6, and that's your weight right there: 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 weight. So we really do have the spectrum covered. And to speak to weight for just a bit too, as much testing we've done with Firepunk, I mean, they actually use a blend.
They do.
I don't know if I want to give away I don't think they care, but
Yeah, I don't think they would care.
Yeah. So, in both the S10 and Levon's truck, he's running, I think, 2 parts 50 to 1 part 60.
Yep.
Now, maybe you can explain that a little bit. So if you take a 50 weight and a 60 weight and you put 1 to 1, you essentially have a 55 weight, kinda.
Yeah.
But where those actually index at in their own categories, it can be a little bit different, right?
Yeah, I mean there is a range. So to give you some of the background and a little bit of background on the oils, oil viscosity is quoted at 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So viscosity. It's easy to match up viscosity in a passenger car or a truck because it's
Right.
always operating at that temperature. Well, race car applications, they're injecting water, methanol, alcohol dragsters. There's a lot of different operating temperatures that racers run. So our oil acted like a 50 weight at 100 degrees,
Right.
and it's in spec, but Firepunk was operating their oil at a lot lower. So after some experiment, we concluded to hit their ideal oil pressure, you need to blend in a little bit 60 weight. So that's something to keep in mind. Not everybody knows that viscosities are quoted at operating temperature.
Right.
So, and one thing that I hadn't mentioned, I talked about the additive package. The base oil part of the package is just as important in the formulation as the additive
Sure.
package. So when we looked at doing a racing oil, we basically wanted to make the best one out there. So we had spoken on some previous Facebook Lives about the different base oils that are out there. Started from a conventional Group 2 to a Group 3, synthetic, and a Group 4 synthetic. So we wanted to make the most oxidative resistant race oil that there was. So besides putting a really stout additive package in, we decided that it had to be PAO based. It's a lot more expensive of base oil. It's 4 times more expensive, as a base oil to formulate with, but it's also basically indestructible.
Exactly.
You can't oxidize it.
I think, it might have been last week when Chris and I were on talking about that with describing what a PAO oil is, a Group 4.
Yeah.
And, although a Group 3 is considered a synthetic, Group 4 is a true synthetic, and the main difference is that it's not going to shear. And under these huge loads, these huge high-performance loads, they can shear oil like that, and then as soon as you fall out of grade, you're going to lose your performance, you're going to, risk damage to the motor as well.
Yeah, and oil pressure.
And oil pressure, right. Yeah. So that's why Kevin's saying we actually started with a PAO. Is it expensive? It absolutely is. It's and that's why there's not many race oils out there doing that, and we're also not getting rich off this race oil by any means. We have, it's probably our lowest margin product we have, but we did it to be able to put the best race oil out on the market to show what we can do with the product. And in general, like I always say, if you like your oil, keep your oil. Try FR3. Put this additive into your race oil and see what happens. I think that's where most people start with us.
Yeah.
Because people are very oil loyal, especially, again, in a racing application where you've got tens of thousands of dollars wrapped up into a motor, and it's your everything. I get having the fear of trying some new oil in it, but go ahead and try the friction reducer in it and see the type of gains you'll get, and then understand if you were to strip our FR3 out of our racing oil, I'd be happy to compare that base package and additive package against any oil out there by itself. Yeah. So if the FR3 can improve upon your race oil, imagine what our race oil can do with the FR3 already infused in, along with our PAO base package and our additive package in there.
Yeah.
I'm getting a note to check for questions, so let's check on that real quick. I got Caden Dene says, any word on a 5W40 Black Diamond? Well, let's talk about Black Diamond a little bit. We probably should have had it out here because Black Diamond we don't put under our adrenaline, racing line, but it very well deserves a spot there because, in essence, it is a high-level racing oil, but the difference is we have a TBN package in it as well.
Exactly.
So for those guys that are street strip racers, that aren't just trailer queens going to the track and just going a quarter mile at a time, the guys that actually drive their trucks and cars on the street as well, you do want a little bit of a TBN package, for that longevity there.
Yeah.
So it really is race oil with a little boost for the street.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
So getting back to Caden's question there, it's actually a pretty good question because we recommend people, if they're at a high horsepower application like that, to go with adrenaline unless they're on the street. We'll go with that Black Diamond, which normally on the low end, as Chris reminded us last week, that's your winter weight. Well, in a race oil, nobody's worried about the winter weight unless they're racing in Alaska, or something. And so there's not really going to be the problem with that. But these street drivers might be. Mm-hmm. So I think our Black Diamond's a 1540. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a bottle right there, 1540 Black Diamond. So why not a 540? Because you don't want to formulate another one and we need another oil on the line?
We will look into that. That is a good suggestion.
Kate, why don't you respond back if you got time? Yeah. Let me know why you're interested in a 5W40. I would say most of the people running Black Diamond usually are on a higher performance application. They're street driving it as well, so I can't imagine too many are in a really cold climate that you're still racing in that cold of a climate. So maybe during those, even if you are in those cold months, you could switch to maybe our Blue Diamond or something like that, and switch back to the Black Diamond when it gets warmer for the race season. So. Also, Samir says, always great product. Thanks, Samir. Todd Roberts, great stuff, FR3. Thanks, Todd. Rich Sprenzel, hi, Kyle. Hey, Rich, how you doing? Let's see, Levi, is it better to use a cheap oil and change it or expensive oil? Well, that's a good question. We might get to that here in a little bit, too, with this thing.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You want to address that right now?
The filtering unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time to talk about. It's a good lead-in question.
Okay. So let me preface it, and you can give the details behind it.
Okay.
A lot of times with racing oil is expensive as we know it, and a lot of guys are dumping their oil very quickly, depending on the application. I mean, some of the top fuel guys are dropping every single pass. You know, they tear the motor down, so it becomes very costly to run a high-end racing oil the whole time. So a lot of guys run junk oil on the track because they just go through it so much, and it's just too expensive to put in every single time. So one of the things we've developed is our torque unit. We did talk about it. I know the guys talked about it when we were out of town a few weeks ago. We will have it at PRI next week in the booth, and we will be for the first time taking pre-orders on our torque unit, which is a trackside oil refining kit. We don't have it out here with us today, but we will stop by our booth 6133 next week, and you can take a look at it. And maybe you can tell them what the unit does and why. To his question, is it better to use cheap oil, you know, and dump it, or get expensive oil?
Yeah, our position here is to buy expensive oil and run it a longer period of time. So we have a couple different ways where we can help you guys get good value from your oil. The first is the Franz bypass filter. You know, putting it actually on your truck. Whenever you run a really good oil, whether it's the Black Diamond, some of our Blue Diamond product, the engine oil, you can run extremely long drain intervals with TPM boost and oil analysis.
Right.
We have people that, with close monitoring, run 100, 200,000 miles, and still the oil is still in good condition. So,
Which to that point also means it's not that expensive.
yeah,
It's expensive on the front end to run really good oil, but if you can extend the drain interval out that long, it literally comes in like the same cost of rotating a bunch of junk oil the whole time.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it was the first Facebook Live that I did, possibly with you.
I'll never forget it.
We talked about different oils and the quality of the performance of the different base oils. You know, synthetics have a better film strength. They always give you better fuel economy. Better fuel economy means that your engine's being protected more. So if you can keep your oil clean and run
And keep it in grade
and keep it in grade,
so it doesn't fall out of grade and shear.
exactly, it is definitely a better choice to run, you know, a more expensive oil.
Right.
And you know, like I said, if you run a bypass filter, you're actually getting a payback by, you know, keeping the oil clean and being able to have the freedom of running a more expensive oil,
Right.
because actually it's less expensive. And then on the racing oil, we have combined the Franz filter that we offer as a bypass filter. We've combined that with an oil extractor. So it is basically it's a kit that you can take to the track, use as a tool to extract the oil out of the car, and then you know, filter it before you put it back in the car. And it does two things. One, obviously it cleans the oil so you can reuse the expensive oil. The other thing that it does, because of the way that the filter is, the geometry of the filter, it loads from the end of the filter. So I know a lot of guys, you know, they like to pull the oil just to see, you know, hey, do I have any metal shavings in it after a run? Well, the Franz filter, you'll be able to, you know, pull the canister out and see at the
right
top.
there.
Yeah, it's like all presented there with the background of white, and you can see the shavings. So,
And to speak to that, in a racing application like that, racing motors eat themselves. I mean, they just do. So I mean, in one pass, you're gonna have metal in there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just part of doing business with that type of motor. So you can imagine with how tight the tolerances are on a real high performance racing motor. As soon as you get some of that metal in the oil, you're asking for trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just asking for trouble. So what's unique about this torque unit, it allows you to come off the track, drop a stick into your dipstick tube. It's going to withdraw all the oil out of the motor, and then, like we said, run it through a Franz filter, which brings it down to 2 micron. It's going to clear all that metal out,
yep.
and it's going to allow you to return it to the vehicle for another fresh run, ready to go, or get back out on the track. And
That way, so all these guys that are dumping their oil each time, now you can buy a really expensive high-end race oil and get longevity out of it and know that it's clean in every single pass. If you take advantage of like one of our torque units, I mean, you just couldn't have better protection for the motor, both by allowing you to have a good oil and have it clean on every single run.
Yeah, definitely.
So we will have that torque unit out at PRI last year. We had a prototype out last year.
Yeah.
That we kind of just put in the corner of the booth, and you know we had Tom Perini's beautiful, split window Corvette Hot Shot Secret out there, and people would just come look at the car and they say, "Well, what's that little thing over there?" So we furthered the development a bit on it, and we decided to go ahead and make it available now. So we will be taking pre-orders next week and at PRI. If you just want to come see the unit and see how it works and everything, come on by. We'll show you how it works. Got a question there?
Yeah, Chris just handed me a question. And the question is, what about performance? Can I run a lighter weight oil and get the same protection?
Ooh, good question.
That is a
Chris.
very good question.
You might get some free product today.
Good one. Yeah, that's a good question. And the answer is, we hate to give a hard and fast answer to this because engine builders, have advice they give, to their customers
Sure.
based on the clearance, what viscosity they should run. That being said, because of all the extreme pressure additives and the FR3 in, you can definitely push the envelope. I've talked to racers where they run their oil pressure like bouncing off of zero because they're doing all they can to get everything out of their
Right.
engine. They know that's not the best way to run it, but that's where you get the performance at. So
why does that help?
yeah, so a lighter weight oil. Let me go back by saying the definition of viscosity is a resistance to flow. So the heavier the oil, the higher the viscosity. So the more resistance there is for the oil to flow through your engine. There's more
It's like
resistance.
trying to push through molasses versus trying to push through water.
Exactly, and your oil pump is driven off of the engine. So any less work that your oil pump has to do,
It's less
that's
power
more
is taken
power.
from the motor.
Exactly, and less heat. So
essentially a lower viscosity oil is, you're closer to water, and it's going to take less resistance away from the motor working.
yeah,
But what you're giving up with that is a little bit of protection for the motor. The thicker that oil is, you're going to have a little protection. I'm going to defer to R&D.
Unless you can increase the film strength of the oil, right?
With
Yeah.
FR3.
Yeah, FR3 is a good choice, and
If
so
we want to go down that road?
so
We
actually
got some
what-
really cool things cooking in R&D and about some stuff that might just like blow the industry up this coming year. But in essence, what Chris is hinting to is, as we said, a heavier weight oil is going to give you the added protection, but it's also going to rob power from the motor because your motor has to push through that heavy oil. A lighter weight oil is going to give you really great efficiency, but it's not going to give you that protection. So how can you take advantage of a lightweight oil that's going to give you the efficiency and the power to develop, but yet how do you add protection to it? Well, the answer to that is our FR3, and it is a friction reducer. And
And the adrenaline oil.
exactly, and that's the combination right there of it.
Yeah, exactly, and we're doing some testing right now with some 8 weights and 16 weights, and see how far we can push the envelope. Right now all we can say is, if you're going to go to a lighter weight, do oil analysis and make sure that your wear metals are still
Doing it
still in
safely,
check
right.
and you're doing it safely. Oil pressure is a good guide on how well your bearings are being protected, but you can't push that envelope if you have
Sure.
a really good additive package in your oil.
And Chris and I did a segment on FR3 recently, where we really went through how the nanotechnology, your little carbon balls are getting in there, bonding to the metal surfaces, giving you that film-based layer. That's what's really protecting the motor and reducing the wear. So if you can combine that with a lower weight oil that allows the engine to perform better,
Yep.
yet still getting the protection that our nanotechnology can provide, it really is opening up some really cool stuff for the future here.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it fair to say that racers are always pushing the envelope, risking a lot of money to get more horsepower, like blowing up turbos doing things that,
Yeah, you may have caught a viral video last year of Levon Miller splitting a motor in half.
so I guess what I'm thinking is, if I'm a racer and I'm doing everything, I'm willing to spend thousands of dollars and blow up an engine just to see if I can get 2 more horsepower. Wouldn't going from a 40 weight oil to a 30 weight oil give me that same kind of performance if I could even do that safely, or go from a 30 weight to a 20 weight?
If you could do it safely, as you said.
And then the adrenaline oils and the FR3 kind of help accomplish that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
So it's, in my eyes, it's a lot less risk and a lot more gain than running 2 turbos into 1 turbo and seeing how fast you can make the engine go.
Exactly. And you're never going to stop the guy from doing that. We know how crazy racers are, and they're going to push the envelope anyways. But to see the same type of gain with an oil change like that, to be able to get a lighter weight oil in there with the power they're going to pick up, knowing that they're still safely protecting the motor, is just it's really a game changer. It's got a lot of potential. So
And Kevin, you ran a 0W8 weight 2 weeks ago and you got the oil analysis back.
0W8.
How did that test look? And how did you do the test?
Are you picking him up on Mike? I'll repeat if we need to.
You can repeat the question.
there you go.
So you did a 0W8 test,
Yeah.
0W8 weight oil, and what were the results you found with it?
Yeah, basically the wear metals were the same as the 30 weight that we're running in the small engine. Originally, Chris was going to volunteer his new Dodge pickup to do our test, but we thought we'd do some pre-qualifying tests of the small engine first.
Right.
So we're ready to take it to the next step and continue to test. Getting closer and closer to real world, extreme pressure requirements. But
Right. We always
yeah,
make sure we're at least at the no harm level first before
Exactly.
we start going
Yeah.
on our own vehicles and everything. But
Yep.
it's really impressive to see a 30 weight compared to an 8 weight having the same wear metals in it.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about how our FR3 can really protect a motor.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about a 0W0 weight?
Hmm.
Just throwing it out there.
I'll tell you, 8 weight actually looks like water.
Yeah, I bet.
So not much difference between an 8 and a 0.
Step 1 was successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means step 2's next.
Yep.
So we continue.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated.
That's what we do here. We do
Yeah.
crazy. Well, he does crazy stuff in R&D.
Next we test on Kyle's car.
Yeah.
I have one right now. If we can test it. Caden responded back. He's the guy that asked a question earlier about the 5W40 Black Diamond.
Yeah.
He's one of our dealers, A1 Synthetics in Minnesota. Thanks, bud.
thanks.
Thanks for being a dealer of ours. He says, I got a lot of guys that use Black Diamond in deleted trucks, but want a better flow in sub-zero temps. Lots of requests for a 5W40. I understand it's slightly less shear stable since VI improvers are necessary, even with dodecene. That's probably what we word for you.
PAO.
C12 PAO oils, but it would still be desirable in Minnesota. That makes sense. I guess
Yeah.
my only question would be, do they need to have that high zinc? Because the other thing with the Black Diamond, it's got a high zinc package in it, just like the racing oils do. Would they need that year round in those cold months up there? I mean, could those guys be better off switching over to like Blue Diamond? We had a 5W in Blue Diamond, right?
Yeah, sure do.
So we do have a 5 winter weight in our Blue Diamond. Now you're not going to have the high zinc package in there, but if they're not pushing those motors to those extreme during your winter months, it could be a good option for you. But like you said, you'll look into it.
Yeah, we definitely will. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And and I know it's a big truck area there, and they're really pushing them, to the limits too. So
Is there any reason you can't do it?
No, it's actually just a different PAO base oil.
the only reason why I can't do it is because Brett doesn't want to make another item code number. We now have 5 million oils, so
Yeah.
short of that, it's just another
Longer
blend.
to label than does it.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, we really do take a lot of advice from our customers, though. So
We got a peanut gallery today. I like this. we need to do this more often. All right, so okay. So again, if you guys have any questions, post them up down there. We appreciate the questions coming in. We're going to be giving away some FR3 today, so just post up. We'll pick some people to win some of that. So let's move on now. We spent a lot of time on motor oil, which has been out for a year. So let's get to these and touch on a couple of our brand new products.
okay.
These are our new Hot Shot Seeker Motorsports Adrenaline line
of transmission fluid and gear oils. Now, while they are not available yet, and they will be soon, these have been thoroughly tested all season long, again with Firepunk, both in the Save the Racks S10 truck that you've seen, as well as Levon's Pro Mod truck as well. So I'll just say off the top, if those trucks can handle it, your truck's going to be just fine. And we want to thank Firepunk and all the guys over there, because to have some very expensive machinery that your livelihood and your work depends around, to have us come in and work so closely with them to develop a product like that is, we're just really grateful to them for allowing us to do that. So, which one? We're going to jump in the transmission fluid first?
Yeah, let's do transmission.
Okay.
fluid. Yeah, so we have two transmission fluids. One for higher horsepower applications. It's Type F, and I'm drawing a blank. The
Allison
Allison
C4.
Allison C4. Yes. Typically, in a racing application over 1,000 horsepower, we'd recommend the Type F.
Regardless of your application.
Yeah, regardless.
So, although it's a Ford Type F and an Allison C4, if you got either of those, that's what you want to go with. Any other thing you have, if you've got that 1,000 horsepower up, you want to run with this.
Yeah, the reason why newer transmission fluids have friction modifiers in them, and we found in competitors' products, basically we had racers that we worked with that had slippage in different gears.
Right.
And it's the Type F, the way we formulated it with a lot of
Shift.
zinc. We call the product Nano Shift. It is a Type F in the Allison C6 though, with an extreme pressure additive package on top of that. When we had done some track testing, we found out that what we thought was the best competitor out there in the industry, it was oxidizing and
Yep.
and
It was cooking.
and causing problems. What we've done with our transmission fluids and our gear fluids, we've formulated them with a PAO base oil and
What do you
extreme
know?
pressure. Yeah, so again, just like the adrenaline racing oil, we start with the PAO so it doesn't oxidize, especially in transmissions. When your transmission fluid's cooked, you need a new transmission.
Yep.
So
And it's amazing the amount of heat that, I've been in the pits at Firepunk when they've come back in, and
Yeah.
the amount of heat that transmission makes in one pass is insane.
yeah,
So, and also in the formulation of a transmission fluid, it was a tough challenge for us. This is one of the tough things to develop, because obviously you want that lubricity, if you will, but you can't have too much. You can't have so much friction modifiers in there that you're going to slip gears.
right.
So it's this careful balance of having a high pressure additive in there,
Yeah.
and bouncing out. And we had a lot of work in the lab, but we finally got it.
Yeah, so now we feel we have a pretty stout package, and like Hal said, it's been tested throughout the race season, and we feel good that it's the best one out there.
It is, and it should be available soon. And there are, again, two different types. We've got the Adrenaline Nano Shift, which is for, again, high horsepower, extreme horsepower applications, or if you're a Type F or Allison C4. And our other line of transmission fluid is our Adrenaline ATF, and that's going to cover, that list of, it's huge. Pretty much the rest of the world, like all the other ones. But it's right on the bottle. It'll be on our website. You can check your application of what type of transmission you have to see which one. We should note automatic transmissions only, so.
What would I notice in my truck if I used it?
Excuse me?
If I put this in my RV or my truck, what would I notice different?
That's a different question. If you were to put in a racing application or your average truck, well, maybe we should, another episode we might get to it, but we actually have two other lines of transmission fluid coming out under our Blue Diamond label, which are for severe duty applications like that. So you want to address that?
Yeah. Basically, they're formulated very, very similar. PAO base oil package with an extreme amount of friction modifiers, and basically in regular truck application, if you're doing severe duty towing, you actually can double the change interval from the manufacturer because there's so much additive in the package, and it's such a stout formulation.
Would there be less wear?
There would be less wear. The fact that we
Would
Thanks,
the
Chris.
temperature be lower?
Yes, all of those things. Yeah, basically, same as with the adrenaline racing oil.
Right.
With starting with the PAO, you're going to have better film strength. We have a lot of additives in there. The FR3 is in there on both of these formulations. We also have it in our gear oils. And so all those work together to reduce friction. When friction is reduced, you reduce heat and release more power.
So you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying I could leave this in here twice as long, reduce my wear in half, and get better shifting and more fuel economy. So I'll spend much less money on gas.
Yes.
All of which is this transmission fluid.
Absolutely.
Sign me up.
It'll be available soon. It'll be available soon. Okay, anything else on the transmission fluid? We got the both types covered?
Yep.
All right, so now moving on to the gear oil, which is also, again, been tested all season with Firepunk, and a couple of other drivers out there have it. Tried, tested, it's going to be available soon. This gear oil is going to come in 3 weights. We have our R9, R11, and R14. That's going to be a 75-90 weight, an 80W 110 weight, and an 85W 140 weight. So let's dive into the gear oil a little bit. How is this formulated, and how do you attack a gear oil and try to make something better than anything that's out there?
Yeah, just like the other products, you have to start with a really good base oil. It's
Let me guess. It's a PAO base.
good guess.
Yeah.
So it's formulated actually very similar to the race oils. Gear oil applications have some unique requirements. You need to prevent foaming. So there's some other additives in there to do that. But it's got a high level of zinc, high level of antimony, and it's got really good weld strength, which is
Really good what?
on the 4-ball test.
Oh, right.
There's 2 tests that you can do with the 4-ball. One is to produce a scar, and then there's also a test called the weld test, where you rotate the ball and make a scar until all the balls actually weld together.
Wow.
So, in a gear oil application where you have the gears meshing, that's the 4-ball test is 4-ball weld number is really critical
Right.
to perform at a very high level.
And so, and then there's some other stuff in the package, like you said. Your gears are basically sitting in a pool of gear oil. It doesn't fully cover it, so as it spins through, you don't want it frothing up.
Right.
So you have to put those into the package as well, or you're going to run into problems. And as far as weight, do we recommend the weight stay the same as your manufacturer recommends for that gearbox? So
Exactly.
that's why we have 3 different weights out there available, and they're pretty common weights for most applications out there. So.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the gear oil?
No.
No. Okay. Well, and I will say there's we've got a lot of all-wheel drive trucks out there that are have the front and rear diffs and stuff. So it's a big investment. That's that's the next best thing next to your engine and transmission. So it's a great way to protect those big gearbox these guys have out there as well.
There is one thing worth noting. With
You did find something. You remember
I
something
did
now?
think one more thing.
Okay.
with a PAO synthetic, you get a lot better cold weather flowing.
Okay.
So if you are in a cold climate, your oil will flow. In a gearbox, it's not a very big area, so it's oil is getting moved around decently anyway. But in a cold climate, it actually regular mineral oil will set up almost like molasses.
Right.
So the cold starts, you will be protected more when you use a full synthetic.
Which we should address, just like Chris had asked earlier. We're also releasing a Blue Diamond line for severe duty of our gear oil as well. So, you know, and I don't think a lot of race cars are going to be starting up in really cold climates like that.
Yeah.
But for those heavy duty trucks out there that are under extreme loads, we're going to have a gear roll out there for you that's really going to stand up to those elements and protect your gears under you know, extreme conditions. So we're really happy to have that stuff. That will be out soon. This will all be out at PRI next week on display. Stop by, ask us questions, check everything out, and we can be happy to address any questions you have. So that's about it on our products there. Remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them up down there. We're going to get wrapped up here in a few minutes. We do have, so let's talk about next week. PRI, awesome, big show, Indianapolis. It's got bigger this year. They're actually using Lucas Oil Stadium for all of like the trailers and stuff, which I'm sure everybody's happy about that looks at the trailers, because they usually park them all outside. So it's grown. We're going to be there at booth 6133. We are going to have 2 vehicles in the booth this year. We have the Trey Sykes BMW 335D, the Hot Shot Secret BMW that I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen. It's just a really cool car. It's a daily driver. He's got over 150,000 miles on it. It gets over 40 miles a gallon. It tows its own little race trailer, and then gets to the track, drops the trailer, throws some race tires on, and kicks butt, you know, and then just hitches up, drives that trailer back home, and goes to work the next day in it. So, I mean, what a cool machine. It's such a perfect example, and he's such a good ambassador for us, because it really goes, I mean, you know, we didn't ever come out of the gate as a racing company, you know, but he's the perfect example, and that vehicle is a perfect example of something that can really, you know, stand the rigors of a racing environment, but yet it's protected enough to be a daily driver. So, really cool car. Come out and see it. Second vehicle we're going to have in the booth is
The Save the Racks truck.
the Save the Racks truck, the Firepunk S10. Big thanks to the Firepunk guys, Exergy, D&J, those guys. You guys have probably seen it. If you've never seen it in person, come out and see it. I mean, what a cool truck. Broke a lot of records this year. Hit 200 miles per hour.
It's crazy.
We're talking about a rear-wheel drive, you know, diesel pickup truck going 200 miles per hour in a quarter. So, I mean, what a cool machine. And I got to say, we've worked so closely with Firepunk. I mean, I've got so much respect for those guys. You know, most people, you assume you know how much work it goes into doing something like that. Those guys, that truck was a battle all year.
Yeah.
All year, and they slowly progressed, and we were alongside with them, you know, in that battle, and to see what they were doing by the end of the year was just amazing, and credit to those guys. I mean, they really are. You need people like that in the industry to be pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why we're happy to partner with them, because they help us innovate our products and take our products to the extent and the limit, and develop new products that are bulletproof across the board. So. Shout out to those guys. Just great group of guys. So we're going to have the BMW out there. We're going to have the S10 out there. We're also going to have a whole bunch of autograph signers.
Yeah.
A whole bunch. So you want to go through the list? Let's see. We got.
You want to hold these up while you go through the list?
Yeah. I don't know if Levi's got. Let's see here. Well, I don't know who you're showing. Well, I'll tell you what. How about I pick the guy out and where's my list? Oh, here we go. So each day, booth 6133 at 10 o'clock, noon, and 2, we're going to have autograph signings all 3 days. On Thursday, we're going to start with Trey Sykes. You all know Trey and BMW, so you can go get a picture with him in his car and get an autograph there. And David's going to be there as well. He's a good friend of the company. He drives this Nostalgia jet car, which is really cool. So we're excited to have David out in the booth. Now the jet car is not using much Hot Shots products of that jet engine. We haven't developed jet products yet, but just like a lot of our racers out there, they have huge rigs that tow these things.
Yeah.
And he's got a big rig that tows these things. He uses our products in his Polars and everything, just like a lot of our racers use our Adrenaline line of the race cars, but then they use our more standard line, you know, in everything that's Poland. So thanks to David coming out. Then at noon on Thursday, we're going to have the Miller Brothers. Larson's going to be out there. Oh, you know what? He's got a little camera right there. I forgot about that. So Larson, you probably want to put it in front of that one. There you go. Larson's actually the driver of the S10. Man, did he do a good job this year. I mean, watching that thing launch and get squirrely, I mean, he's got some big cojones, and he did a heck of a job taking that thing to the limit this year. And of course, Levon will be out there as well. Won his third UCC in a row, this year. I mean, what a season he had as well. So we're really grateful. We always are to the Fire Punk guys for being such good partners with us. So they'll be out there Thursday at noon. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have Derek Klein, who's got the Hot Shot Secret dragster there. He's a good friend of the company. He runs our products not only in the dragster, but he also has his puller truck, his tow pig. It's got a France filter on it, Blue Diamond oil. I mean, the works. So good friend of the company there. Awesome dragster racer, along with Cameron Lawrence as well. Cameron Lawrence is a great guy. He's a professional race car driver. He's helped us actually do some testing. Yeah. He actually is a driver trainer as well. One heck of a professional race car driver. I've seen this guy getting like everything from Vipers to little Hondas to Audi RH, you name it.
They tested the FR3 in a Lamborghini.
Yeah, they did a Lamborghini test out in I think it was Utah at that test track or something, and it's got some temperatures down on that, so that was really cool. So Cameron will be out there as well, so thanks to him. On Friday we're gonna have Wade. Wade Moody, along with an up and comer, Nathan Moody. So you guys might know Wade Moody. Again, great guy, runs our products. Wade's actually one. I'll tell you what, Wade is an oil freak. He knows his stuff inside and out. He really pushed us hard, running our motor oil and everything, and really figured out a careful balance. And we love Wade. Wade's got the fastest diesel on the planet, and all using Hot Shot Secret fluid. So we're really proud about that. His son Nathan's going to be out there too. He's got his own dragster now, kicking butt. So we're happy to have his son out there. Come get Nathan's autograph. Make sure you ask for Nathan's before Wade's, or just skip Wade and go right to Nathan. He'll love that. And then let's see. Trey and David will be back Friday at noon. And then Friday at 2 o'clock, we're going to have a bunch of the Street Outlaws from Memphis. We're going to have 3 guys all at once. Michael Dover is a great guy. Dover, he's got the Honey Boo Boo car. He's been running Hot Shot Secret Adrenaline Racing Oil all season. Season's currently on TV right now. It's Monday nights. Monday nights on Discovery as Memphis Street Outlaws, so keep your eye on that. We're going to have Lee Roberts out there and Carp as well. So all 3 of them will be at the booth Friday at 2 p.m. Swing on by, get an autograph, meet the guys, chat about cars. We'll be having a good time out there. And then the rest of the week we're going to have Derek and Trey come back, and then Levon and Larson will also be back on Saturday afternoon, or Saturday at noon, to sign autographs again there with the truck. So we're really looking forward to it. We're excited to have these guys that really support us in the industry, these guys that have allowed us to really test and develop our products and take them to the next level. So if you're out there in Indianapolis next week, we're in booth 6133. It's the side room off the main hall there in the 6,000 room. You can't miss us. We're right against the back wall, right when everybody sees us right when we walk in. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be out there. I think Carmen will be out there, and Diesel Don will be out there.
Oh, yeah, Diesel Don.
And you might make an appearance?
Yeah, Friday I'll be there.
Do you have an autograph card?
No.
Do we need to make you one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you guys ask nicely, Kevin will. Maybe if you can sign a bottle, that'll be your card.
I'll bring my marker.
That's great. All right, so let's see. So if we have any. Again, the web special. Oh, you know what? Dealer shout out I got here. I forgot to get the dealer shout outs. I do have one. Well, 9B Auto Works in Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Thanks for coming aboard, new dealer there and from Idaho. And Complete Safety Services Incorporated in Casper, Wyoming. So thanks to you guys for coming on board too. We always appreciate all the new dealers coming on. We've had just a ton of dealers lately, so we're really excited to have our private dealer network expand. And remember, our web special is free product, anything over $100. Go spend $100 on there. You're going to get your choice of some DWAG, some EDT, or some of our new gun oil. And sign up for our email newsletter, because we got the 12 Days of Christmas coming starting December 5th with a lot of cool stuff. And other than that, I think we're about to wrap.
Just need to give away some FR3.
We need to give away some FR3. You know, we didn't get a lot of questions today. Let's see. Am I missing any questions? I last week I missed a bunch of questions because my phone froze, so I apologize to those guys. So Caden Dene, he's one of our dealers. He still gets a free bottle. He can just flip it then. And let's see. And we'll send out a bottle to Samir and a bottle to Todd Roberts. So Caden, Samir, and Todd, send us your shipping address through a private message on Facebook, and we'll send you out a bottle of FR3. Thanks for participating in our chat. Thanks for coming on and joining us on another Friday for our special PRI edition. And come see us next week. One more question? I missed one. All right. I'm getting notation. You're gonna have to read it to me. I don't see it, bud.
Short question is, for non-racing heavy-duty applications, diesel pickups, is it best to use our favorite engine oil plus FR3, or your oil infused with FR3?
In a non-racing application.
Correct.
Okay.
6.0 power stroke.
Oh. Well, what I always say, and I'll let you answer the technical side. What I always say is, if you're asking yourself that question, you're probably a little oil loyal. People tend to be very oil loyal. I'm cool with that. I get it. Yeah. Try our FR3 first. If you like your oil, keep your oil. Try our FR3. If you feel the gain of our FR3 over your traditional oil, which a 6.0 guy guarantee you're going to see, because we're going to get in there and clean out those Huey injectors with some FR3 as well. So go ahead and start there, and then that usually brings people across, because they think, well, heck, I've used this oil so long, I just put a little additive in there, and man, this got some good stuff. Well, we've got it infused into all of our oils, and from a price point perspective, you know, we're right there. You can save money by either buying an oil and throwing our additive in, or you just buy our oil off the top and it already has additive in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for 6 liter, if you're not using our oil, you do definitely want to make sure you're running a really good synthetic oil.
Right.
The 6 liters are really hard on oil as far as shearing the oil out of grade, and you know, breaking down and causing stiction. So yeah, if I had a 6 liter, I would put a France filter on it and run the Blue Diamond for sure.
Yep. Oh, I see it now. 6.0 Power Stroke specifically. Yeah, I guess I just let's see. Oh, I got a couple questions, man. They're showing up now, huh? We'll try to run through them real quick. Dave Jill, is it better to run the Black Diamond in a pre-2007 Cummins versus the Blue Diamond because of the high zinc levels in the Black Diamond? Well, in a pre-2007, you're not going to have a DPF.
Right.
So the zinc's not going to hurt you.
No.
It's actually going to be a protective for you. So Black or Blue Diamond?
Let's say Black Diamond.
I'd say Black Diamond, yeah. I mean, you're going to get the TBN boost out of it and the zinc package in it as well. And it's still going to be that high-end base oil of Group 4. Yeah. So I'd say Black Diamond there. Now, if you were post DPF, then you're going to want to run Blue Diamond. Yeah. Arthur, Arthur, I realized I had a call with you. Now you know why I missed your call. So, Arthur Irwin says FR3 works great in everything. I have it in my lawnmower and cars and SUVs. I got a 3% increase in my 1999 Grand Cherokee with 150,000 miles. Thanks, Arthur. Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. We put it in everything. Yeah. I mean, I got it in my lawnmower too, and it's just it's a great do-it-all. Can I use this in my RV? Absolutely, you can use it in your RV. I don't know what you're specifically talking about, but if FR3 for sure. But race oil, maybe not so much. Where's Big Country? Big Country's here. He's working hard. He's on the phone talking to his favorite dealers out there. Yeah. Big Country will make a return, I promise. You'll see him soon. Actually,
probably next week.
Probably next week, because he's not going to PRI, and a lot of us are going to be out. So
yeah.
Expect Big Country next week. He'll make a return. And there's David there. David, he's the guy with the jet car. So hey, David, see you here next week. And I think I wraps about everybody up there. So so let me adjust that then, since we had a good question there. Dave Jewell. Dave Jewell, why don't you send us your address too? We're gonna send you out a bottle of FR3 as well. So Caden, Dave Jewell, and I lost the rest there. The ones I said earlier. Go ahead and send us your address. We'll get you some FR3. And that about wraps it up for this Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for coming by and spilling some knowledge on everybody. Next week, PRI, booth 6133. All of our good friends in the industry signing autographs there. We're going to have 2 really badass vehicles in the booth. Stop by and say hi. We'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And until next week, when I'm going to guess Big Country makes a return, take care, and hope to see you out at PRI.
Yep.